Gary, an eventful week this week. What can you tell us about how the week's unfolded?
I was rather you asked me the question about the week rather than me give you the story, but it's been a hectic week, that's for sure, because we was trying very hard to on the road morning, noon and night after training to try and get to some clubs to try and improve our squad really, which we think needs improving. And transfer deadline night we was at a Premier League club trying to organise a couple of their players, and could have done, and had somebody else on the go as well. So, and then we drove back on the Monday night, and obviously we had the game on the Tuesday. Now, of course, I was disappointed with what happened. That's no secret. On transfer deadline evening, it was a communication thing. I still haven't yet spoke to anybody about it, but I just need to find out, some whys and wherefores of how that evening unfolded. And then, of course, the game came, and everybody was wondering why I was late. I spent an hour in the hotel before the game with Jack Price because he was new. He hadn't trained with us, so I went through our tactics if he was to come on. So I rang Terry. I just said, look, I'm just going to relax, have a cup of tea in the hotel, and you do the press. And that's the only thing I missed. Other than that, the boys have their, just before the game starts, they have me do my bit, half time and at the end, and I did all that. So I hope people are not thinking that I've lost my mojo, or I've lost my appetite, or I've lost my passion, because you can interview any of the lads and they'll let you know that day against Portsmouth, they'll tell you that I haven't lost any of that, and I certainly haven't lost my head as far as the club's concerned. There's something I've got to sort out, something I've got to do very quickly for my own peace of mind. And as I say, the chairman comes back tomorrow, and I'll be talking to him straight away. Yeah,
and so your future you still see at Yeovil Town? You'll be leading the team?
Well, you've got to ask the board of directors that as well. I was so happy after our second half performance against Barnsley. I knew that we've got a team here, and I know that this team's got potential. Unfortunately, we lost our Warriors for the Portsmouth game, although we played well first half. But the Portsmouth game, to lose that, I was really disappointed as a management team, because certain players had their opportunity to impress and didn't. So with all due respect, I said to Terry, well, take the one you took it before, take it at the end of the game, and I was angry. There's no disputing that, but it didn't stop me having a word with the lads on what they should or shouldn't have done, either before or after the game.
Yeah, has it affected the team? Will it have any impact on the weekend?
Well, I don't know. I don't think so. I think I'll do my job to the best of my ability every day, and while I'm here, that's what I'll do and what I'll always do. But I always ask for confirmation of certain issues that have come up and who made what decision at what moment. That, in my opinion, cost us a couple of players. So until I speak to the chairman, then I don't quite know what happened on that evening.
Yeah, you say you haven't yet spoken to John Fry. Is that something that you're looking to do at the moment he returns?
Well, the whole few days was a communication problem. Obviously John Fry, quite right, he takes his holidays whenever he sees fit, of course. But there was on that day, the issue was communication, and it wasn't there, and then when it could have been there, it wasn't there again. But I don't want to get into too much detail on that. It's not going to affect the lads, it's not going to affect our coaching, our build-up, all that sort of thing. That's not going to do that while we're here doing a job. But we'll have to wait and see what the board want to tell me.
Yeah, and your passion though is still there for Yeovil Town?
It's always there. I know people thought that I was sitting down not getting involved, but at that point we were 0-0. When I stood up and got involved, we lost 3-1. So it's probably better that I sit down. But it's we do all different ways. Generally I'm standing there, and I heard somebody shout from the crowd, Johnson, do something. And I'm thinking, well, we've made 3 substitutions. We've tried hard to get them going. We didn't have the Warriors on the pitch in that game, and they didn't on the day have enough heart and passion to get back in the game. I don't think they had enough leaders around them, and we were trying from the line, but 1-0, 2-0, 3-0, you can only make the subs and then hold your hands up and say, well, Rolfie probably was the only player on the day that come out with flying colours. We've had a big meeting today for 2.5 hours, so we're trying to put it right, and we're trying to make sure that the ones that keep making the same mistakes don't keep making them. But we were only one game more than the game that we saw second half against Barnsley, which we see the passion and the quality of our team, and we've got to get that back quick.
And Saturday's game against Bradford, is that in some ways a welcome distraction, if you like?
Yeah, maybe. The next game after a defeat is always a welcome distraction. It's something that you're building up to the next game. We always put a full stop after our review. Some of the lads have, we've had a real good home truth session with them. Like I'm going to have a home truth session with the chairman and the board, of course, because we keep after excellence at this club. We keep trying to improve, and somebody has to be the catalyst of doing that, and the board of directors do that sometimes. And if there's a dispute or an issue, then obviously the two parties, as quickly as possible, have got to get together and sort it out, because for me it was a very, very important day for our football club on that day.
Yeah, and the game itself, what are you expecting from, again, I know you want your players, the reaction you want from your players, but what are you expecting from Bradford too?
Well, they're a strong side. They played Oldham, didn't they, a few days ago, so I got my little scout who's manager of Oldham, and he told me we can beat them as they won 1-0, and we'll have to see whether they select the same group, but they're up there. We're not a million miles away from where we need to be. It's 5 games, we'd like a few more points, but a couple of wins on the trot puts you in a decent position, and we certainly as a team and a management team, we're not panicking. We know we've got some new players that haven't yet quite gelled often enough, and certainly haven't brought out their best game yet. And when that all comes together, we got to back our judgment, which has been good over the years, that this team will reach a potential as soon as it can.
Yeah, and Valley Parade, a good stadium to go and play football.
Yeah, it's always a good atmosphere there, that's for sure. And also a few days later when we play Coventry at the Rico. So they're two good games to look forward to. But as I say, there's a little bit of talking to be done before we get too advanced of ourselves.
Yeah, it's a good game for you in terms of their league position. It's a good chance for you to go and measure and get the response from the players, given their league position. It's a good chance for them to show you what they're all about.
Yeah, it is. And after the chat today, which left them in no doubt where we stand with them, it is a very good opportunity for them to show that they want to be a part of this club's next success.
Yeah, and do you look at Bradford's start to the season, or is it more a focus of just focusing on Yeovil Town?
No, I think it's just focusing on us. I don't think the league means anything at this stage. You know that after 5 games, the team that have done the most in the first 5 games are at the top, but that don't mean to say they stay there. And it doesn't mean to say that some of the teams that are at the bottom half of the table don't. There's very few points between top and bottom after 5 games. After 15 games, it becomes a little bit of a problem if you're too far adrift. But at the moment, it's still 2 or 3 wins puts you back in the playoff fray.
Yeah, we look forward to seeing you in the dugout at Bradford. Thanks, Gary.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Obviously, thanks on the injuries. Obviously, Joe and Jakob are the 2 you're hoping.
Yeah, they're the ones you got to keep your fingers. They're 2 of the warriors. You got Simon Gillett that was out. He's another warrior. Of course, we haven't had James Barrett yet, and we know what he can do. And we're without Joel Grant, and we're without Liam Davis. So, when you're without probably 6 of what you would class as your first team players, then you're having to bring on the others very, very quickly, and then they don't play, and then they do play, and they're not quite ready, sort of thing. So we're learning a lot about the squad at the minute, and like everything else, if you look at the year that we won promotion from the First Division a couple of seasons ago, it wasn't the same as the group that started the first 10 games that finished this. It was not totally, but it was quite different. And that's how we have to do things. We have to take chances. Some you get right, some you don't get right. The ones you don't get right, you have to move on if you can as quickly as possible, and then you have to move in as quickly as possible. Now, unfortunately, sometimes when someone's on contract, as a manager, you have to judge, because you have to bring in sometimes before you can move out. And that may be one of the problems I've got to talk about.
Who, out of that 6, who's like to be fit for Saturday, would you say?
I would say Joe Edwards has got a good chance because he wants to be there, and Jakob would definitely be fit, so he's fine.
Simon about a month with his knee?
Yeah, well, Simon we thought would be a lot longer originally, but we think that he's not far. His is now bone bruising, which is a lot better than if it was a cartilage problem or even a tear of the cruciate. So that was what we were fearing, but it's not that bad. So we're pleased that he won't be out for too long.
We've seen Joe Grant just jog out for training. Does that mean he's getting closer?
He's getting closer, that's for sure. Yeah, and that's good because he gives you that little bit of. He can open teams up a little bit, and he's raring to go after his Jamaica performances. So hopefully he's not a million miles away.